It's the party of the summer! Yeah, party! Remember Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog? Yeah, party! Remember Batista versus the Great Khali? That one's less good, but yeah, party! Remember Undertaker versus Fake Undertaker? That's... Remember Triple H versus Shawn Michaels? Yeah, party! Remember Diesel versus King Mabel? What? Why are you... The point is, SummerSlam's history is full of ups and downs. For every glorious moment like Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio, there's a Kane versus Bray Wyatt. For every WWE triumph, there's a controversy. I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and here are the top 10 SummerSlam controversies. Number 10. Fred Durst flips off the camera. Fred Durst is the lead singer of Limp Bizkit, a totally respectable band that everyone still listens to. He has a pretty grungy and fairly hardcore public persona to maintain, and feels he must conduct himself in certain ways on camera to communicate that he is a radical dude. At SummerSlam 2012, when the camera panned on him in the crowd, he flipped the camera the bird, telling the audience at home that he hated them for some reason. Again, something to do with him probably being a radical dude. A decade ago, flipping the bird was just part of the WWE wallpaper, but under PG rules, it's a huge no-no, and rumours abounded that he was forcibly removed from the building. Durst refuted those claims, saying that he went backstage to apologise for the gesture, then left early to beat traffic. Sure. Number 9. Steve Austin won't play the game. SummerSlam 1999 was going to be Triple H's coming out party. He would win the WWF Championship and be all like, "It's time to play the game, rah rah rah, assassin." But then Steve Austin said, no. Austin resented the way Trips climbed the ladder, being part of the clique who were apparently bastards to a man in their prime. Austin wanted his pal Mick Foley to win instead and vetoed the idea, so the story goes. Another theory behind the last-minute change was that Jesse Ventura was going to be the special guest referee. Oh, and by the way, he was the governor of Minnesota at the time. It's rumoured that the last-minute switch was made to Mick Foley so that Ventura didn't hurt his political standing by raising the hand of a villain. Yes, much better to raise the hand of a leather-masked psychopath, yes. That's astute. Number 8. Gene Okerlund's potty mouth. Well, turns out Mean Gene Okerlund swears like a docker when he's startled. SummerSlam 89, it's one of the most infamous wrestling goofs of all time. When the interviewer with a voice like leather and a face to match was introducing the Intercontinental Champion, Rick Rude, and a SummerSlam sign behind him fell down. Gene's response was... Huh, way to keep your cool on live global television there, Gene. He claims it was a blooper shot intentionally, but that the wrong clip was aired at the wrong time. So, sure. Either way, Jesse Ventura was forced to cover for the bald-headed old man painting the air blue. Mean Gene, you troublemaker. Number 7. Al Snow's doll's head sparks outrage. What does everybody want? Head! What does everybody need? A massive media outcry. Wait, what? So Al Snow carries around a mannequin head called Head, who he thinks talks to him and sometimes he bashes people with it. Harmless fun, right? Well, wrong. When the Al Snow toy, in conjunction with SummerSlam 1999, hit the shelves with a little head accessory, two mothers from Georgia thought it was supposed to be an actual severed human head and raised more hell than an army of Steve Austins. Academic reports were published claiming the doll trivialized violence to women, and in a media storm, Walmart pulled the doll from their shelves. Apparently, children take their lessons about decapitating women from their dolls rather than, say, their parents, or the law, or the common sense that you shouldn't murder people. So the evil doll was removed from the shelves, and all future Al Snow dolls came with a plain white styrofoam version of Head instead, just to avoid future controversy. Number 6. Cena crushes the Nexus. Many people attribute the stupid decision to have the Nexus lose their SummerSlam main event against Team WWE to John Cena, but Cena doesn't book, he just wins. He does what he's told, like a good little cereal salesman. But what Cena did book, what he was in charge of, was the match's finish, whereby he took a DDT on the exposed concrete, which should kill a normal man, then came back to pin Justin Gabriel and submit Wade Barrett. Chris Jericho and Edge both took exception to this finish, thinking it would make the Nexus look incredibly weak, but John Cena overruled the two men. Guess what, gang? The finish made the Nexus look incredibly weak, and Cena was later forced to admit that Chris Jericho and Edge had been right all along. Number 5. Lex Luger wins by countout. When Hulk Hogan left the WWF in 1993, Vince needed another tall, blonde, flag-waving surfer doofus. Lex was going to SummerSlam 1993 with plenty of momentum, having slammed the WWF champion Yokozuna on a battleship and going on the Lex Express bus tour to campaign for a title match. He was booked to win the match and the title in the main event at SummerSlam. Problem was, the locker room was all set to riot if that happened. Most people believed that Bret Hart should have been the face of the company. After all, the original plan plan had been for Hart to win the title from Hogan in a pass-the-torch match at SummerSlam, but Hogan refused, convincing McMahon that Hart was too small. According to Luger, top stars were threatening to walk out of the company if the bodybuilder was pushed to the top. McMahon relented, but didn't want SummerSlam to end on a bum note, so Luger won the match by countout, so the title did not change hands. Despite this, Luger celebrated like he'd won it. He was hoisted on the Steiner brothers' shoulders and waved the American flag as balloons and confetti rained from the ceiling. He hadn't won the title, everyone knew that he didn't, yet confetti and balloons. Doofus, doofus, doofus. Number 4, Hogan and HBK have a clash of egos. SummerSlam 2005 and the first ever match between Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan. A classic, right? Well, sort of, but for all the wrong reasons. See, during the match, HBK went pants on head insane, overselling Hogan's offense, flipping around the ring like an octopus in a washing machine. Originally, the match was supposed to be a face versus face confrontation, may the better man win, etc., but Hogan nixed that, preferring a more traditional heel versus face matchup. Hogan got his wish, and Michaels, against his wishes, turned villain. HBK made the most of his villainous role, including an astonishingly good heel promo in Montreal, and all this was under the provision that the SummerSlam match would be the first in a series, with Shawn Michaels picking up at least one victory of his own. However, just before SummerSlam, too late to change the card, Hogan announced that because of back problems, he would only be wrestling the one match and winning. HBK went, okay, then I'm going to go bonkers up in this, and made a farce of the whole thing. Number 3, the WWE 2K14 panel. Drunk Ric Flair won't play your games. Drunk Ric Flair will take your game, and he will make it his game. During the 2014 SummerSlam Access event, a special panel was curated by Jim Ross to promote 2K Sports' upcoming game, WWE 2K14. Amongst the star-studded panel guests were Paul Heyman, Steve Austin, Daniel Bryan, Mick Foley, and a drunk Ric Flair. Ric Flair was coming off one of the most traumatic periods of his life. His son Reed had died 5 months before, and it was probably too soon for Flair to be publicly working with the company. What damage did he do? He joked that Daniel Bryan didn't belong on the stage with the rest of the legends days before he was set to wrestle in the SummerSlam main event, mentioned his son's death, and stated that John Cena was a big drinker. WWE was a tiny bit absolutely furious. Flair was pulled from appearing at SummerSlam, and JR was fired from the company for failing to control the Nature Boy, and potentially for having a drink on the job himself. Number 2, Owen Hart nearly ends Austin's career. SummerSlam 97, and it's the most infamous SummerSlam botch of all time, and when you know exactly what's happening to Stone Cold Steve Austin's neck, it's still hard to watch to this day. Austin was briefly paralysed from the neck down, and the injury would nag him for years, eventually forcing him to retire from active competition 5 years later in 2003. The uproar that followed is one of the reasons why the piledriver is currently banned in the WWE, but still, you gotta hand it to Austin, he went on to win the damn match, rolling up Owen Hart and winning the Intercontinental Championship. Take that, kayfabe. Take that right in the neck. Number 1, Ultimate Warrior holds the company hostage. So, don't hold Vince McMahon hostage, guys. Do not do that thing. Weeks before SummerSlam, Ultimate Warrior was ultimate worrying about his status in the company and was pressing Vince for more money for his WrestleMania 7 appearance. Basically, he wanted as much as Hulk. Despite not being in the main event, he felt his star was equal to Hogan's and wanted $500,000 to make that official, as well as a number of other written demands, or he would no-show the biggest party of the summer. With his SummerSlam 1991 main event under threat, Hogan and Warrior versus Sergeant Slaughter, Colonel Mustafa and General Adnan, McMahon felt he had a gun to his head and relented, giving Warrior the cash, then immediately suspended him as soon as SummerSlam was done. Like literally that night. Warrior went backstage and bam, you're gone. Warrior then went on to quit the company. Perhaps he should have been glad that Vince didn't take Hogan and Slaughter up on their offer to deal with Warrior physically. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Tell us about it in the comments, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. You can even follow me on Twitter. Here, I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and I'll see you soon.